Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of America Transcending. Well, for today's episode, I want to talk about a book that I read a while ago called Hardwiring Happiness. This book talks about an array of things, but it mainly delves into how to hack and program your brain to become a happier person. This might be a little difficult to understand, especially if you're coming from a perspective of understanding it with your mind, but we are not our mind. We are not our brain. We are beyond our brain. We are somewhere between our soul and our mind. And this space is the present moment. When we are here now, we could begin to understand and observe the way the brain works. And in that process of understanding how the brain works, we could hack it, we could program it, we could manipulate it and make it work for us. This book delves into understanding how the brain has evolved over millions of years of evolution. Now, in this process of evolution, this thing called survival of the fittest was very much so applied to us. Survival of the fittest doesn't apply to us now the way it did back then. When you really think about the context, thousands of years ago, humans could die very easily. We had little to no knowledge about medicine or health. We had little to no knowledge about diet. We had little to no immunity to all these viruses. We had no shelter. I mean, if we were lucky, we had a nice cave and some nice skin to keep us warm. As a result of all of this, the brain was conditioned and evolved to focus on fear. Those humans who focused more on the emotion of fear had a higher chance of survival. If you really think about it, that one caveman who was a little bit more paranoid and always carried a spear wherever he went had a higher chance of survival compared to that other caveman who was looking at the flowers and was a little bit more happy and upbeat all the time. And as a result, the human brain evolved to focus on fear. A great example of how we could see fear operating in our lives is if we were to experience 50 or 100 positive things in a day and one negative thing were to happen to us, chances are we would go to sleep thinking about that one negative thing. We'll be thinking about it, obsessing over it, contemplating how we could resolve this issue. But the problem is we don't need to focus on fear anymore. We live in a different era, a different society, a world that was developed over the past 300 years. But our brain hasn't fully caught up to where we are today and doesn't fully understand that we don't need to be paranoid all the time. We don't need to be fearful all the time because we're living in a different world. So, hardwiring happiness, how do we program, how do we hack our brain to become happier beings, to override this feeling of fear? The technique is to consciously take in every detail when you're having a happy experience. What is the smell of the room? What is the sound of the room? What are people wearing? What color are their clothes? How many people are in the room? What are the colors of the wall? What are the colors of the floor? What are the shape of the dishes? What time of year is it? What does the weather feel like outside? By consciously taking in every detail, every smell, every sound during a happy experience, then we begin to consciously take this happy experience and put it into our deep memory. I always say we master what we practice. So we must learn to practice this all the time. After a while, it becomes second nature. And as a result of all this, we become happier people. We have a mind full of happier experiences and happier thoughts and carry happier energy with us. We must learn to use our brain. We must learn to use our mind as a tool to navigate the world, to help us solve problems, and to help us become happier. Our mind can only exist when time is relevant, and time does not exist when you are here now. Remember guys, be here now, and in that process, we can consume these positive experiences. We can consume joy. Thank you again for tuning into another episode of America Transcending. It was a joy being with you today, and I will try my best to create more content on a regular basis. My name is Gerardo Duran, and until next time. Be sure to follow us on social media at America Transcending for more updates and videos like this. And don't forget to hit that like button and share this video to help with the growing and healing process of our friends, of our family, and of yourself. Thank you guys.